up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Gaming Without Parole. Sitting across from me this week and every week, the triple threat himself, Desra.
I'm a professional.
Triple threat mean?
Triple threat. I think you can sing, you can dance, you can act.
Oh.
And I can't do either, so.
That meant you're handsome?
No.
You're rich?
Nope.
And you're talented?
Nope.
Oh.
Anyways, but sitting across from me with all three of those things is Brian Paul.
I'm not rich.
Okay. Two of those things.
I'm a single thread.
Double threat.
I don't know.
You got some skills.
I can't even pay the bills with my skills.
No, but you can. Okay.
Des, what are we going to talk about this week?
We're going to talk about. Wow. We're going to talk about enunciation. We're going to talk about clear speaking, enunciation, taking your time, thinking about what you're going to say before you say it.
Don't worry. At this point, we can talk about anything because they've already all turned it off.
Yay!
Bye.
We're going to talk about my favorite genre of games, short games.
That is a great genre of games.
Yeah, it's Brian came up with this idea a couple weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, that's a neat idea. I'm going to look into it. And then I realized this is a genre of game that didn't really exist before about 10, 20 years ago, because before then, every game was a short game.
That is true.
Yeah.
Back in the the NES days,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of big giant RPGs.
Yep.
If you knew, if you were already proficient at a game, you could blast through the whole thing in 20 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And games that were longer than that were longer because of stupid artificial reasons, like making you repeat and do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we have these big sprawling epics.
Yeah, and developers, a lot of indie developers, it looks like, have actually taken a look at the things and flipped it around and made short games. Yeah. So for me, I thought of short games as more like short stories. Mm-hmm. You've got your novels, your Skyrims, your what have you, Resident Evils, and you got your short stories. Stories that contain story, but within a smaller package.
Now, the first thing I always do anytime we come up with a new idea for a new show is I just go on Google and type in what are the shortest games, or what are the scariest games, or whatever. And because you've played all these games over the course of your lifetime, and you start forgetting them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've played thousands of games, and there's no way. And I need a little refresher.
Right.
So the funny thing is I immediately all these things came up in a Google search. So I checked out a bunch of people's top 10 lists of top 10 shortest games, and more than one time I saw the original Prince of Persia show up, which is
that's
totally unfair.
Yeah.
You have to beat that game in under an hour, or you die.
Right.
But you can't beat that game in under an hour the first 50 times you play it, because what you're doing during those times is learning how to finally do the definitive run.
Right.
So these are not games like that.
Yeah.
These are games that you play in one sitting from start to finish, probably your first time.
Yeah, and we're not talking about, exactly right. It's not a game that's short because you're skilled at it. It's a game that's short because it's intended to be a shorter experience.
Short by design.
Yes, exactly right. So, okay, I guess I'll start it off.
Why break tradition?
And talking about a game that, we kind of forgot about, but and looking at these lists, I was reminded of, I'm going to talk about The Room from 2012. Yay. This was not Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, although that would be a fantastic game. Lisa, you are indeed tearing me apart. Maybe 5 of you got that. This guy. Well, anyways.
I got it.
I got it.
Yeah. But only because of recently.
Want to play some football? No. Okay. Anyways, so this is a phenomenal little game made by Fireproof Games. Basically, two developers and a programmer that I hired kind of cranked this out. Now, Fireproof Games was actually an indie game studio spun out of basically a bunch of guys who were doing dev work for other games, including Burnout.
Oh,
sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, any kind of 3D model in Burnout, these guys made.
Nice.
And they were like, "Hey, we really like doing this. Let's go do our own thing." And they started Fireproof Games, and met with middling success. Basically, they hadn't had their own independent hit, but they were doing a lot of outsourcing. So they were doing designs for games like Little Big Planet. They did that. They did Blur, Split Second, DJ Hero, and so they were doing okay. But while they were doing that, they figured, okay, well, we have this idea for a game. Let's take two of our guys, put them on this and see if we can make our own independent game. And The Room came out of this. It was designed natively for mobile devices.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the few games I've seen that really takes advantage of the fact that it's on a mobile game. I guess I should probably explain what it is at this point. Imagine those little puzzle boxes. Ever seen those like Japanese puzzle boxes where you can hear the mechanism rattling around inside? You got to like slide this panel around and twist it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the game. You're presented with a bunch of puzzles, which are these pieces of these ornate boxes or pieces of furniture or tables that you have to figure out how to unlock. And it's not immediately obvious. So, you may say, hey, wait, there's a screw missing on this panel here. Maybe if I twist that. And because it is, touchscreen based, you really are kind of touching and grabbing and spinning things around. There are a couple puzzles where you actually do tilt the phone, and actually that has a real reaction to the stuff on the game. And yeah, it's I don't know, it's a really unique idea for a game. And yeah, it's a blast. I don't know.
So we're not talking like again, to bring it back to our definition of short games or single sitting games.
Yes.
So even if you struggle with these puzzles, even if you take your time with them, still, what are we looking at roughly in terms of like completion time?
Well, I sat and replayed it, and let's see, probably maybe an hour.
Oh wow,
an hour or two. And it's definitely, if you want to cheat and go ahead and look up answers online, you'll probably be through it in 10 minutes.
What just happened?
Oh gosh, I didn't even mean to do it this time.
Can you just bring us back?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a little chilly. And just there was some attitudes from these developers that I really liked. First of all, they weren't even sure it was going to be a success. They took about £60,000, which is a British company, so it's about 72,000 US dollars. And so we're going to put that into it. And hey, if we break even, that'll be great. They broke even in their first week.
Sweet.
Yeah, with no advertising, no publisher behind them, just putting it on the the iTunes App Store, and yeah, made a ton of money. But Barry Mead, one of the members of Fireproof Games, I love these two quotes from him. We'll have our best chance of success if we do what we're good at, what we know, and what we love. It was really that simple. And then as they were talking to other mobile developers and hearing, here's what you have to do to have a mobile game that be a success, blah, 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 micropayments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They hated that. And he basically had this other quote: why would you, given the chance to make a game of your own, not try to be original? And it paid off. I've got a history of saying, even if I don't like your game, as long as it's unique and you're trying something new, I'm going to give you a thumbs up. Yeah. And this is a chance for a huge double thumbs up. I love their game. I love the fact they took a chance and tried this crazy plan. There are now 2 other sequels. There's The Room 1, 2, and 3. There's a 4th that will be coming out this year. But between the first 3, they've sold over 4 million copies.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
Nice. Do we know how much these things go for, or how much it was when it was released?
$1.99.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, $1.99. You can play it on iOS, Android, and Windows right now. And one thing that struck me right away is, hey, this would be perfect for VR. And Barry Mead agrees, but at this point, they're not sure. He says, we don't want to make the Room experience for VR. If they're going to do it, they want to do from the ground up, making something that's as much for VR and as much natively for VR as The Room was natively for mobile operating systems, and they're just not quite there yet.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be. I'll be saying the exact same thing about another game later on in this episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I do wish everything would be in VR, because normal games are
pretty much where you live now. Yeah.
Yep. Or Without Parole Games.
Yeah.
Home of PlayStation VR. A game I wanted to talk about is a game that actually just came out. I played it yesterday, so by the time this thing airs, last week, I guess. I don't know. I'm really bad at scheduling.
Yeah, it's actually, I wanted to point out, this was the first episode, I think, that every game we're talking about is from the 21st century.
And this one is about as recent in the 21st century as you can get.
Yeah.
This came out last week on the PlayStation 4 and PC.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a game called What Remains of Edith Finch. It's awesome.
What does remain of Edith Finch?
Well, here's the thing. So yeah, this is on PS4 and Windows.
Okay.
This is by a company called Giant Sparrow, and if you're not familiar with Giant Sparrow, there's a good reason. They only made one other game.
Oh. Okay.
Although if you haven't played their one other game, well, I'm just going to take some editing.
Yeah.
It's The Unfinished Swan. And The Unfinished Swan is basically a first-person adventure.
Okay.
And you walk into the world, which you don't actually know if you're walking or not, because everything's white, like just plain white.
Oh.
And what you have at your disposal is like with your analog sticks, you toss basically paintballs at walls.
Oh, I like this.
And it explodes.
Oh, cool.
And you slowly fill in the world around you. Now, you would expect that a follow-up to such an artistic game would also be equally as artistic. So Giant Sparrow brought us What Remains of Edith Finch a full 5 years later. Wow. Which is crazy. Sony must love these guys because they are
just letting them
allowed to do whatever the hell they want. So What Remains of Edith Finch is, a worthy follow-up. I'll give it that.
Okay.
This is, you play the role of Edith Finch, and you return to your childhood home, I think in Washington State, or I don't really care. And it's the weirdest home ever. This is where you grew up, and this is where tons of your family members lived, and you slowly unravel the history of Edith and her family through little vignettes, and you take control of different characters through storybooks and through comic books and through letters, and you find out that, and this has Brian Paul written all over it, that Edith Finch and the Finch household has been like cursed. There's like 13 stories of death. Like, it's not a happy
13 stories like a tall house.
No, 13 stories of death.
Edith Finch.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the whole thing only takes 2 to 3 hours to beat. So
wow.
you can.
That's a lot of death in 2 hours.
Exactly.
3 hours. That's like 4 deaths an hour.
It's pretty frequent, and it's not happy. And you walk into this house, and it feels lived in. It's beautifully rendered, and my first reaction was like, oh, the frame rate's not very good, but I very quickly got over that because we talk about immersion a lot.
Yeah
And you walk into this house, and there's like books like stacked up everywhere, and they all are separate books. Like, it's not just like you're seeing the same repeated title over and over again, and it's just a house that looks lived in. And it was lived in the strangest possible way, without giving away any spoilers. It's because it's such a new game. You just slowly uncover the craziness of the family as a whole, and you, like, one family member is crazier than the next. It's ridiculous, and as Edith Finch narrates as she walks through the house, words will like appear in the house, and then you walk through them and you break through them, and it's
just kind of like floating in space.
It's usually like against a wall, or sometimes floating through space, and you'll like walk through them and they'll blow up and stuff. Cool. But it's just beautifully done, and it's very linear, which for me was a good thing.
Yeah,
because I was like, I don't want to have to figure out where to go next to discover the next story.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. It's just, it's messed up. It's beautiful, and it's very, very short. And here's the thing: the reviews have been mostly positive, from 7s to 10s.
Okay,
I fall somewhere in the middle.
All right,
and it's like, if you give yourself this space and this time, you can't just go into a game like this or Gone Home.
Yeah,
we talk about walking simulators.
Yeah.
I feel like we shouldn't be calling them that.
Yeah, that's kind of a dismissive term for it, really.
It's like a derogatory term.
Yeah.
Right? So this was referred to as a first-person narrative adventure video game.
Okay.
I'd like it to have a shorter...
First-person narrative, yeah.
But, so, give yourself some time. Clear out some space in your schedule. And just turn everything else off. Like, this isn't a game that you can, be texting and playing. You just turn up the volume and give this game the attention it deserves. Yep. And I think you'll feel it to be somewhere closer to the 9 and 10 range than the 7 range, because it is an emotional game, and you at first you're like, this is a crazy family, who cares about them?
Yeah.
But as you start to live each of their lives and experience this family through each member of the family, you very quickly become emotionally attached to them. It's beautiful and worthy of 5 years of work.
And that, I think, is going to be a common thread through all these short games is, because they are so short, it's not short because, the developers ran out of ideas and,
right.
Oh, well, this is the best we could do. It's because they have a really well-crafted story that they want to tell in that time. And you really do, like you said, you need to focus on these. It's not like, okay, I'm going to play Battlefield, I'm going to throw on a podcast and, talk to my friends and all that while I'm playing. It's, no, you need to be focused. This is... it's a short experience, but they're rich experiences.
Sometimes we get in the comments, they're like, what kind of music do you listen to while you game?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I like to listen to the music that's in the game.
Yeah, especially in these types of games.
Yeah.
So speaking of immersion and discovering things, I'd like to talk about Her Story. This is, I think, the newest game I have ever reviewed. This came out in 2015, and I'm going to be completely frank. I just played through this game today for the first time. And it was recommended in a couple of these articles we read, and I am obsessed with this game. This is just a breath of fresh air in modern gaming. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it is the only good FMV game. Now, we're coming off of 2 weeks of reviewing 3DO games, and I have just about had enough of FMV. And the last thing I was going to do was review another FMV game, but I was wrong.
You're going to hate the Sega CD episode that's coming up. You're really going to hate it.
Yeah, I think I might come down with whatever Michelle has. Yeah, for the next 3 months. Anyways, so what this game is, it's very, very difficult to talk about this game without spoiling the game. The general idea is first of all, right off the bat, the UI is you're sitting in front of a computer. Like you have a computer desktop screen from a computer from the 1990s because you are set in trying to solve a crime, basically. And the only tool you have is this database of video clips of this one woman, Hannah Smith. These video clips are taken over the series of 7 different interviews with her. And they're police interviews, but you never get the detective's questions. Mm-hmm. And you can't just sit and watch the whole videos one at a time. What you have is a little search box, and you search for a term. Like, let's say you search for the word dog. And you get every clip. Well, actually, the frustrating, ingenious way it works is you only see the first 5 clips. That is it. So maybe there's 17 clips that have the word dog, but you only get to see the first 5.
How do you get to the other 12?
You've got to come up with other ways of doing it. Other search terms. And at the most mundane level, the way to beat the game is to unlock all, 217? Yeah, 217 clips.
This doesn't sound like a short game.
Or 271. No, well, each clip, the clips can be from 3 seconds to, I think the longest is like 2 minutes long.
Okay.
So what's really captivating is the story that starts to unfold. And what got me is I was, 5-10 minutes into playing this, was like, oh, all right, I get it. I know what you're doing. This is not that creative after all. But then, I can't say what experience you're going to have because you're going to find the clip in a different order. You just are. You're not going to have the same journey I did. But all of a sudden, these things happen, and the story gets all twisty and ambiguous, and it's brilliant. The interviews were supposedly happened in 1994, and the video, if we're getting any clips up here, it looks like it was taken on VHS. It looks like of the age. One of my Des Nugget for this one. They recorded the video in standard, HD digital cameras and all that. And then originally the creator, Sam Barlow, I haven't even said his name yet, he tried to use like VHS filters and After Effects, and it just didn't look good. So what he did was he recorded it, ran it through a VHS player, recorded that on another VHS player, and then digitized that footage.
He just wore it down.
He ran it through 2 VHS tapes, and so it looks like a VHS. Sam Barlow, now that I remember to mention him, he was a developer who's worked on these little games called Silent Hill Origins and Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Sound familiar?
Yeah, he worked on the bad Silent Hill games.
But well,
let's be fair. Everything after 3 was garbage.
Yeah, but you know, he's definitely shown that he had some abilities that I guess may have gone wasted. The other half of this game, and it's really important, like this could absolutely fail as an experiment if the woman you had to listen to was a terrible actress, but is actually her name is Viva Seifert. She is a musician from a couple bands called Joe Gideon and the Shark and Bikini Atoll. I guess they're two British bands. She is absolutely captivating. Like, again, I don't want to say too much about what's going on, but there's some stuff that would be challenging even for a traditionally trained actor, and she knocks it out of the park.
Can you lose?
Yeah, I guess. So what happens is as you unlock, I'm not quite sure what the trigger is, but at some point a little chat window comes up and basically say, "Hey, are you all done?" And you can say yes, even if you haven't unlocked all the video clips, and the game basically ends. There's a little bit of kind of exposition you get, and that's it. If you say yes at that point and you have unlocked everything, you get that same bit of exhibition, but the credits roll.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah. Again, it's really hard to talk about this without giving anything
totally
away.
Understandable. Absolutely.
I will give you one hint though. If you are the completist type person and do want to unlock every one of the clips, this is not giving you any hints about the plot or anything. Just use the search term, actually in quotes, yes, and then no, because there are a bunch of like 2-second long clips that only have her saying that. And so you would never find those unless you actually search for those. So just to kind of save you that. And with that, I'm just going to leave you with one quote from Hannah. All the stories we've been telling each other, just stories. It's $6. Okay, this game will cost you $6. You can play. You can get it on Steam for Mac, for Windows, for Linux, and for iOS, and now Android as of I think last year. So really, you have no excuse. It'll take you 2, maybe 3 hours to play the whole thing. And don't cheat. Don't cheat on this one. I cannot say enough good things about this game.
Double Switch.
Double Switch.
Double Switch starring Corey Haim. Way better FMV game than this.
Well, I mean, it does have the great Corey Haim involved, so all right, I will stand back then. Maybe Double Switch is... No, it's not.
It's really, really bad.
And the other thing, I would say one other thing.
Yes.
You play this, have one of your friends play it, have another friend play it.
Talk about it.
And here's the thing. There are multiple ways to interpret what's going on, and you all have great evidence for your point. And it's yeah, just go play this.
I should have played this.
And the other thing, we talk about, this game made, I just did it with The Room. 4 million copies. As of the latest data I could find, 100,000 copies.
Yeah.
That's it. It is not a hit. It's a critically acclaimed. People love this. I want to get the word out on this thing. If you haven't heard of this, I'm telling you now. If you haven't bought it, go buy it.
It's a tough sell because full motion video games, as we just said multiple times, horrible reputations.
Yes.
So it's a really tough sell, especially in this day and age, to try to sell anybody an FMV game. I've seen multiple Let's Plays of this game, and I was intrigued, but not intrigued enough to play it. So I'm glad to hear that it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I think watching a Let's Play is actually going to ruin the experience because it does such a great job of replicating what a computer screen looks like that, and you talk about the immersion. You're instantly like, yes, okay. For whatever reason, it doesn't really tell you why you're doing this. Just for whatever reason, my job is now to go through this and solve this mystery.
Gotcha.
It's
All right.
Okay.
Brothers.
Out of this, right? Or is this a different
game?
Yeah. What's the one where... Okay, never mind.
I love Brothers.
Yeah. It's a great game.
I also love Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Wait, what?
Just let's go with it.
No, I'm very confused.
Like twin brothers.
I'm slightly scared. Twins?
Asian twins.
Asian.
I need to edit this out.
Yeah.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is...
And that wasn't a spoiler, by the way.
No. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is about 3 to 4 hours long. It is An overhead kind of looking game.
Yep.
Almost like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance looking kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
To an extent.
We got it, yep.
Yeah, we get the idea. And you're controlling two characters. Now, it really feels like this game should have been 2 players.
Yep.
And at some point, they went, screw 2 players. Let's make the single player control both characters with one controller, one with each analog stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about original brilliant ideas. This is it.
Well, this concept was done before on
really?
the PlayStation 2
Okay.
in a game called The Adventures of Cookies and Cream.
Huh.
Or Cookie and Cream. And the fun thing is like with Cookie and Cream, it was like a side. It's like Cookie was on one side of the screen, Cream was on the other, and but they were separated by like a river or like a wall or something.
Okay. So,
and they were doing things on each side to help each other out to get to the end of the course.
Gotcha.
Now, Cookie and Cream was an adorable game, as Brothers also is, because you could play this like on a date scenario, and you'd have to snuggle up and hold one controller together, and one of you would hold one stick and the other one would do the button.
No, I told you to do the...
Right.
Yeah.
Date over.
Yeah.
So it's got potential as a 2-player game, but it is a 1-player game, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons. This came out originally on the PlayStation 3 and 360 in 2013, but as of 2015, it's on everything. You can get it on PS4 now and Xbox One. You can get it on Android and iOS.
Was it Xbox Live Arcade, or was it actual...
Oh, yeah. Only recently, in 2015, I think 505 Games bought the license from Starbreeze, the developer.
Yeah.
And then put out some physical copies.
Okay.
So
I thought so, yeah.
Until 2015, it was downloadable only.
Yeah.
Starbreeze Studios, you may recognize their name because they created Payday 2.
Payday 2?
Also Chronicles of Riddick.
Oh.
Yeah, the good one.
That's a hidden gem right
Escape
there.
from Butcher Bay. Ooh. Yeah, good stuff on the original Xbox. But they also did this.
There's a show, Games Better Than the Movies. Maybe we should do that.
Did we not do that?
Yeah, we did that.
Okay. Who can tell? I used to drink a lot. I killed a lot of brain cells. But they did this, Starbreeze Studios did this in collaboration with some dude named Joseph Fares, maybe Fares. I don't pronounce words. And he's a Swedish award-winning... I can't pronounce anything.
Words are not good today.
Award-winning film director. So... Like I said, you control one brother with each analog stick. You help each other out. You do different things. One brother is definitely the older brother. One's the younger. So they have different abilities. One's taller and stronger. One's short, can fit through tiny spaces. It's all good. It's a nice, short adventure. Game Master, it's a magazine from the UK.
Okay.
They're quoted as saying, it's a short but immensely satisfying. It's Eco meets Limbo in Fable's world. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to come up with my own quote. That quote says it all.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. At the start of the game, these brothers, their dad almost dies. And he's on his deathbed. And so you have to take your little brother and head out to the Tree of Life, which...
Like you do.
Obviously not nearby. Okay? You got to get there. You got to go get some water or some crap or whatever and bring it back and save Dad.
Okay.
So it starts off dark and very Brian Paul-like. And then it gets even more so.
Ooh.
Yeah, you save a dude from suicide. You're dealing with death
that's not
left
dark.
and right.
You're saving him.
Yeah, but he didn't want to be saved.
Yeah. Okay. Well, talking him into it, that'd be dark.
Do it! Right. Brothers, the sequel. That's kind of it. Like it's a real simple concept. There's only really one button, I believe, for each character. It's like you move with one stick and you interact with a button.
Okay.
And so there's very little, but you can do quite a bit with that simple controls.
Oh, yeah.
Again, 3 to 4 hours. It's best played in one sitting.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Should we?
Oh,
wrong podcast. Now it's honorable mention time.
Honorable mention, yeah. I have a super short honorable mention, and this is kind of the game that maybe sort of got this ball rolling. But I found this on a whim because just the title appealed to me. This is called "There Is No Game" by Kazimoto, who's a French indie developer. Came out in 2015. This was the winner of the Deception Jam. So it was basically one of those 24-hour make a game. The theme of this particular jam was called Deception. And again, this was going to be even more so than Her Story. I don't want to say too much about it because there are spoilers, but suffice to say, you turn on the game and it just says, there is no game. And it's quiet for a little bit. And then a voiceover says, there is no game. Go away. And you basically have to figure out that maybe there is a game hidden in here somewhere. And it's it felt a lot like your kind of classic sort of adventure games where you've got to, there's a little bit of pixel hunting. It's cute. I mean, the whole game will last you less than 10 minutes, 5 if you're smarter than me, probably 2 if you're really smart.
Wait, what is this on? What is this for?
This is for you can actually play it online in a bunch of places. Newgrounds, Congregate. It's on the web in a bunch of places. I got it for Android, and it's free.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be the best gaming experience of your life. I thought it was really cute and funny. It's a free download, or you can play it on the web for free. It's just a creative little fun game.
And when you're talking short games, it doesn't get much shorter than that.
No, it's super short but worthwhile. Yeah. It's hard to believe this guy threw this together in like 24 hours.
All right. Well, since we don't want to spoil anything, we should probably move on.
Yeah.
Because we're almost to the end anyway.
My review of it was probably longer than the actual gameplay.
I think the shortest game on my list is my honorable mention. It's Jumping Flash 2, but let's be fair. I might as well be talking about Jumping Flash 1 because they're almost identical. Jumping Flash 2 was slightly better. It's about 90 minutes.
Was it 2 times better?
No. I would say 20 to 22% better.
Okay.
But can you imagine this buying a PlayStation 1 game back in the day and like 90 minutes later finishing it? Guess what?
Yeah.
That happened to me.
Oh.
And I loved the game. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is you're a robot rabbit named
Jumping Jack.
Rabbit.
Oh.
Right? Good. Got one past you. And this is a first-person shooter platformer. You're this little mechanical robot, and you can jump, and you can double jump, and guess what? You can triple jump. And I think this game should be made for PlayStation VR, because even back on my old little CRT television, with just like some flat-shaded polygons, like very, very simple graphics, I got motion sick back in the day. Ooh. And it was triple jumping. You look down and because it's weird. There was not dual analog sticks. That didn't exist back then. So the camera would automatically look down at the ground as you're jumping. So the whole thing, you see the ground getting smaller and smaller below you. You're just like, super primitive graphics, but a lot of fun. You can shoot enemies and it doesn't matter. If this game needs to be in VR, and it was just a whole lot of fun. In the first time I will say this about any of the games on our list today, too short.
Too short.
We needed more Jumping Flash. I think Japan got a Jumping Flash 3. We didn't get bastards. That. It's time, Sony, to bring it back and bring it back for VR.
All right.
That's it. So what do you want us to talk about? We sometimes we come up with these ideas last minute.
Sometimes.
Fourth wall.
It's right there.
We do have. Oh no,
he's gone full mime.
Tunk, tunk, tunk. Yeah. We do have an idea for the next few episodes.
Yes,
it's going to take some work.
It's going to take some work.
We're not fans of work.
Maybe even a road trip. Maybe.
I don't like leaving the apartment. But we need to know what you're interested in. Are there any topics that we've covered already? Any former shows that we've done 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts of that you want us to, go back and re-explore, to re-examine? Maybe we missed some very important games and certain topics.
Yeah. And here's another thing. I'm actually going to put this call out to you folks, the listeners, the viewers, whatever.
Game Cats.
Game Cats. There we go. Game Cats.
Wow.
A few weeks ago we had an interview with my friend Nate. Happened to be a friend of mine, happened to be involved with the topic we liked. If you know someone who's involved in the gaming industry who would be interested in coming to the wonderful city of Worcester and talking about what they do, just send us a line, because that was kind of fun.
Right on.
So
yeah. All right, let's move along. Short episode for short games.
Moving right along.
Right on.
Foot loose and fancy free. I'm ready for the big time.
For Without Parole Games, I'm Brian Paul.
Is it ready for me? I'm Desra.
We'll see you next week.